welcome to another exciting episode of the Phoenix Pod.
Woo! Yeah. I don't feel it doesn't feel right me doing sort of like, the normal intro that I would do for
Taking a bit, he's taking a bit.
Taking a bit. Well, I'll be honest with you, like I said, we said that about that Peter Kay thing, didn't we? Because we weren't going to do it, and then it was like, yeah, I suppose. But in a way, it feels a little bit more in place because it's sort of a continuation, isn't it? So it's a
fuck it.
spin-off.
Fuck it. Right. Give me a second.
He's getting in the zone.
Oh, yeah.
Took him out of it.
Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. I'm not a rag doll. I'm not a rag doll.
Right.
Okay. Silence. Master at work here. Master at work. Kiss, kiss, bang, bang. Meet Kano. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to do it now. I'm making you laugh so much.
Built up to it. You built it up. He's like a heel wrestler now. It's where everyone goes, shit, that shop, isn't it? And he just goes, nah, and just puts him in a headlock.
That might just have to be the intro now of Lewis just going, kiss, kiss, bang, bang. Sponsored by Charlie FM.
Coming in your ears. There you go, there's your intro. We are the Phoenix Pod. We are coming in your ears.
Which is also how the episode starts, doesn't it, every week?
Yes, every week. There's a little bit of a tidbit on the little intro. That, by the way, I am stupid, sexy Flinders. We might as well do that, get that out of the way. But I've noticed that. I don't know if it's the OCD in me. Maybe, I don't know. But if you ever notice, the woman always clears her throat every time she says it at the beginning. It's like, Charlie FM, sponsored by Charlie FM, coming in your ears. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, she obviously, they must have took her by surprise somewhere. Or just hit record slightly too early. I just thought, fuck it, we'll keep it.
I think it's a little bit. Personally, but I'm not 100% certain. It might be one of those where you're just sort of like, they're recording at the time. She goes, and they just keep it in and decide to edit out the white noise.
Or is it just a case of, oh, for fuck's sake, Barbara, we've been at this all day. We ain't got time to do another take. We just have to keep it.
They might have just run out of money, to be fair.
Well, given the amount of scenes, like particularly in this series, that they try to do sort of like, scene, and the amount of outtakes that there are for like certain scenes, it wouldn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, what about Tommy Dick Fingers?
That's why.
Emphasize the dick. Emphasize the dick. Yeah. Not Tommy Dick Fingers.
But then, you're laughing. But yes, I'm of course your host AXC, joined once again by Stupid Sexy Flinders, as he's already introduced himself.
Yeah, I've already introduced myself, yes.
And of course, the man who does our intro, the Stowaway, Lewis Ogden.
How's thou doing?
We're doing fine.
Hey?
Hey?
That's the Brian Potter chuckle, if people weren't aware.
Yeah, his Brian Potter is like worryingly good.
Well, considering it was also 20 years ago this week, the first episode of Phoenix Nights aired.
Yeah, thanks to that post, I feel old. I feel really, really old. It's like, fuck, that was 20 odd years ago. What made me age even more is I was playing, before we came on air, I was playing a game, completely legitimately illegally, called Kevin Keegan's Player Manager, which was on the Super Nintendo. And it dawned on me that the game got released 28 years ago. I was like, I remember playing this as a child. And I'm talking a child that was not long before going into high school. And I'm like, I'm officially fucking old. I was like, oh no. But yeah, today's been a day where I feel a lot older than I have felt before. The mid-30s is a bitch. That's all I'm going to say.
Don't, because I'm nearly there myself.
I know. I mean, it's the age where you're your hobbies and your enjoyment become nostalgia for everybody else.
Woo.
Yay.
So, for those unaware, of course, we've mentioned Phoenix Nights. Max and Paddy is a spin-off from Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights. As the series follows two Bolton doormen, Max Bygraves and Patrick Paddy O'Shea, as they wind their way around Britain in their camper van that they bought.
Which is
but not the camper van, not the camp. Yeah, I was about to say, but not the camper van that features in Phoenix Nights.
Yep, because this one's a Fiat and it's a lot bigger.
And of course,
it has separate compartments that we'll find out later on.
Well, of course, they're on the run due to an incident in the last couple of episodes of Phoenix Nights, in which says, Max pretty much robbed a woman of $8,000.
$8,000?
And so they've gone on the run because she threatened to have him whacked off herself after they couldn't kill her husband. So,
the size of her husband, it won't chase her very far, will they? Let's be honest. So they're on the run outside Bolton.
And if you want to feel old as well, this episode was first broadcast on the 12th of November 2004.
I was at college when this aired. I remember this aired, and I was a massive fan. And I managed to get one of the most epic T-shirts I've ever owned. I wore it once, and it went missing. I was wounded. And what it was, you used to be able to get... I can't remember what episode... Oh, that's it. It was Music Zone in town. It was an old shop called Music Zone. I don't know if you'll remember Coxie. I don't know if there was a Music Zone in Southport Lewis. I know there was one in Preston, I think, but I don't know if it was relatively local. But anyway, I managed to pick a t-shirt up in there, and it was navy blue, and it had the DVD artwork on the front. But instead of being white, it sort of had like the navy background, and it was fucking amazing. And I wore it for college once. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, I must wear that t-shirt," and then my t-shirt disappeared, and I do not know what happened to it. So.
What month of 2004 was it? Sorry, Coxie.
November, yeah.
November 2004. So I'll have been in my last year of primary school.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I was in my last year of college, sir. Oh.
Yeah, wait, to make you feel even older, so I'll have been 11. I've just turned 11 because my birthday's on the 10th of November. So
I was 18. I was 18 years of age. Sorry, it was literally just before my birthday, so I was about to be 19. Yay.
So, of course, we open, as we've mentioned already, with Max and Paddys Road to Nowhere, sponsored by Chorley FM, where the listener comes first. And we start the episode with an instrumental version of the theme, which comes to be known later on as the Max and Paddy theme. And we get an overhead shot of some sort of dockyard as they pull up, and Paddy blurts out, "I thought it were a shop."
It is. Have you noticed as well, for the way that Peter Kay voices Max in this series? Have you noticed his voice for Max is a little bit higher pitched than it is for Phoenix Nights? Because I was thinking this when I was watching it, because Max in Phoenix Nights is sort of you can feel it a bit at the back of your throat whenever you're doing an impression, whereas Maxwell in Max and Paddy is a little bit higher pitched. You feel it up here, just below your ear. You know what I'm saying? Please God. Please God, see him. Please God, say that you noticed, please.
Oh no, I did notice because it's sort of like watching it, but I think it's that thing because it was Phoenix Nights is 2001, 2002, and then it's probably a couple of years off, and then Max and Paddy in 2004. So it's probably that thing of right, how do I do Max again? Oh, I've got to have a deep voice, and it's that sound right, and Paddy's yeah, that'll do.
Yeah,
it's in reality, it's not as deep as it was. I don't know. It's just it's an interesting little tip. It's interesting little thing that I noticed whilst watching.
Because this must have been filmed probably, I reckon, like spring summer like that year to probably put spring summer 2004 because it came out in November.
You'd think so with the weather, particularly in this episode, the way that it is. I'd say that's about right.
Yeah, they had some decent weather, didn't they? So, and yeah, I'd say definitely summertime. It could have been the year before, potentially, with post-production and stuff like that, but it's definitely no earlier than 2003, I would say. No earlier than that.
So, Max opens the back of the truck and he's met by an Irish fella named Gypsy Joe.
Oh, God. This man. If you don't already know, if you've not watched this program, you maybe have watched another comedy program. Which, and if you have watched this comedy program, I fucking pity you. It is Mrs. Brown's Boys, and this gentleman here is the star.
Brendan O'Connell.
Is that
Gypsy Joe?
Yeah,
Brendan O'Carroll.
Yes. Brendan O'Carroll. Yeah, this gentleman is is Gypsy Joe. Mm-hmm. And he's a million times better as
Gypsy Joe. And he's got his own sort of like, shop music, even though his entire shop is in the back of the truck. Yes. It's like he just gets a cassette player and just starts playing this like, sea shanty like Irish instrumental.
Absolutely.
That's going on in the background.
It's if Mr. Softy Top and Cash Converters had a baby, this is what it would be.
So, of course, Max asks who it's all a bit, because I can't whistle.
It's all a bit under the... Oh, aye. It's very much under the... And when Gypsy Joe answers, he's just sort of like, looking around just to make sure that no one's watching. And when we mean... It means sort of like, under the table. Sort of things.
Or literally off the back of a lorry.
Yeah. Max is there just going, you got any big televisions? It's like, I've got a beautiful 22-inch Vitaba back there. Fast text, wide screens, perfect for the families.
But you got any plasma screens? I used to. I know a fella, maybe he can help. As he rings, he starts ringing someone, and then
there's a particular bit beforehand is just sort of like as soon as he just sort of like Gypsy Joe says it's perfect for the families, Paddy just goes, hey, what we'll be watching is just sort of like won't be appropriate for families, if you know what I mean. Two bachelors on the road. You just have Max going, well, I've none of that smut on there.
Oh dear. So then we cut to the White Cliffs shopping centre and see a bloke sorting a TV out as an info board. Whilst in the background we hear a random like happy kid song as we get a couple of dancing bears in a race shot outside Toy Master with like a bit of a crowd of spectators watching them do a little dance. Which, full enough, in the crowd is Peter Kay's mum making an appearance from the spectators.
It's literally just before the bears are giving the flyers out. There's like a couple of women sort of like in shot, and Peter Kay's mum is on the right. Which my little tidbit.
It weirded me out a bit in a way because like he looks so similar to his mum. It's like, is he in drag as well here or whatever? Like,
no, that's freaking that's the Stars in Their Eyes freaking parody. It's not to be confused.
So then we're in a corridor where we see a security bloke saunter past as the two bears poke out from a side corridor and head into a stock room. They remove the heads and find out it's Max and Paddy.
All the while with sort of like Mission Impossible style music going on in the background.
That definitely popped up in the trivia.
Oh, go on.
That popped up in the trivia on IMDb of like, where it says like references or whatever, or like connections. It's like Mission Impossible. So I clicked it and it's like, there's a song that sounds like, but definitely isn't the Mission Impossible theme used in this episode.
The royalty-free version.
So they literally get into a storeroom and they sort of like take the bears' heads off, and Max just goes, you had no right feeling that little lad's mum up.
These artifacts give you a license to grow up.
So then Max pulls out a bit of paper saying the stock is in that room somewhere. But the one thing from this scene that carries forward, I don't know if it's through the entire series, but definitely this episode, is Max like trying to like look like he's chewing gum, but isn't.
Yeah, he's sort of like, it's like, I don't know, chewing the side of his tongue or whatever. It's just like very much like a.
Well, this is mentioned actually on the piss poor commentary. Actually, they do mention it saying, "Oh, look, is he chewing gum?" So yeah, it's not just you. It is mentioned.
But it's more the fact it's like so open mouthed because it's like he's just the way he's doing it. It's like, is he actually chewing or is he just trying to look like he's chewing? Because it looks daft either way.
Yeah, it's like he's chewing the inside of his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, if you got your cheek, yeah.
So then Paddy sees a sheet covering some boxes and pulls it back to reveal some Matt Sheba plasma screen TVs.
Matt Sheba.
Matt Sheba. Is that an actual brand or is that just something that they've come up with?
I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm guessing they've just come up with it because I'm guessing it's like meant to be like a bit like Mitsubishi, a bit like Toshiba.
I'm googling it now.
Sheba is spelled Sheba, like a cat.
So Matt Sheba. Matt Sheba. Oh no, it's not. It's something they've made up.
There you go then.
It's in the Urban Dictionary though. It says a really good person who is good at volleyball.
What?
That person, in the use of the sentence, that person is a Matt Sheba.
That's so fucking weird.
But we do get a trademark line from Paddy here as he gets, oh yes, here we go, that'll ding dang do.
Yes, he uses it quite often, obviously, in this episode. It's been used in, did it get used in Phoenix Nights? I don't think it did it? I don't know if it's another a Mandela effect.
No, it was definitely used in Phoenix Nights.
I don't know.
I know it said that'll do for Paddy when it came to the money.
Oh, he's used ding dang do before. Oh.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Somebody let us know if he actually did, because we can't remember. We all seem to be having brain aneurysms thinking about this. I certainly am.
So then we get Gypsy Joe approaching the info desk, asking what time are you open till? As Max and Paddy change out the costumes into, as you can see, they've got suits on underneath. So how they're not sweating the tits off in those bear costumes, I've no idea.
Well, it's like Gypsy Joe when he's at the information desk asking the woman all these details and that. Swear to God, he puts on like a posh voice, just sort of like as a figure of disguise. It's like, excuse me, what time are you open till? It's like 8 on the weekdays, 10 p.m. weekends. It's like, okay. And then after they cut back from sort of like Max and Paddy getting like out of the bear costumes, it's just sort of like, are you okay? It's incredibly warm in here. Would you do you not have like a drop of water? Like properly putting it on. And as she goes to sort of like
he says water like Austin Powers says sherbet when he's hypnotising the guy. It's like, would you like some orange sherbet?
So yeah, as soon as the woman steps away, it's just sort of like Gypsy Joe fakes collapsing. Which brings a great big massive crowd of people, and then like here come Max and Paddy with
we've got a keeler.
Well, the woman shouts help, and literally like mere seconds later, they just come around the corner.
Whoa, here you coming? It's all right, where are you? And like they've made like a stretcher out of the plasma screen telly, but for whatever reason they took it out of the box and just put like a sheet over it. Couldn't tell you why. It's just sort of like, what happened, love? It's like, he just keeled over. Max is just sort of like, hands out, just sort of like in emotion of sort of like telling everybody to just sort of like get back, give us some room. He just goes, we've got a keeler. We've got a keeler. Don't worry, Flower, we'll take it from here.
That becomes sort of like one of Paddy's sayings as well. You worked through this episode, flower, calling people flower.
Yeah.
Well, it's something I noticed here was like Max refers to Paddy as Dr. Patrick.
Yes. Come on, Dr. Patrick.
But also the fact no one questions him arriving so quickly.
No.
Like he literally just keels over, like, and then they just literally come around the corner. We'll take it from here, like.
Yeah,
Well, they're down south, aren't they? They're down south, aren't they? Everything's better funded and works quicker. So.
Well, as we find out here, though, like they get through the fire doors, and you see the real ambulance screech past the camper van going the wrong way.
Go reverse.
But then Joe suddenly comes through going, "Have you got my money?" Like, we're a bit busy here at the moment. I told you, it's cash on delivery.
I'm not a credit card company, it's cash on delivery. And they literally just sort of like, after obviously the ambulance is sort of like gone past the turning, it's obviously turned right round and has taken the turning back and sort of like coming in the direction of the camper van. They see it as just sort of like, oh shit, and it's like, oh shit, and then this is like this is a very underrated line from Max. He just goes, reverse.
Yeah. He just reverse. Yeah. But is it at this point where they decide they've got to do something about Gypsy Joe?
Well, they got to plonk him on the wall, and then they'll go, we'll put him on here, and then I'm sure it's like Paddy or something. I think it's Paddy who's like, oh, get him over the side. But Joe's going, no, lads, not over there. And he's throwing him over.
Yeah.
But at this point, I do question the integrity of this plasma screen TV, because it's managed to hold a man's weight for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then also, it's like they've managed to pick it up to then tilt him over, and it's not cracked or smashed or anything. It's like...
I want a Bathsheba TV. Can you imagine back in the day? They must be top of the range, because back in the day, not long after this, the Nintendo Wii came out, and how many TVs got smashed because of them fuckers? You want a Bathsheba TV? That's what you need.
A plasma screen as well, to be fair. Which have like what, a 2-year lifespan.
Absolutely,
It's a plasma screen made by the Japanese, so maybe that explains it. It's just sort of like the built rock freaking solid.
They just ricochet stuff back at you rather than breaking. Maybe.
But so the real paramedics arrive and like, what happened? And so Max says, he just jumped.
And at this point, we just cut to Gypsy Joe, and he goes, I think I've sprained my ankle. And his leg's sort of at 90 degrees from...
90 degrees, more like 180 degrees.
Yeah, but...
it's like picking the other side.
Yeah, but I watched the completely fucking pointless commentary, and this is probably the best bit that they said on it. It was basically like... what is it? It looks like one of them car crash commercials from the 90s. You know when they're talking about drink driving or speeding or speed back. The Kill Your Speed campaign back in the late 90s.
Yeah, I remember.
Kill your speed, not a child. That was the line. I was like, Jesus. But yeah, he's like, he's lying on the ground, his legs twisted. I think they were talking about the advert where the girl sort of gets up and sort of brings clicks bones back into place. And it looks like something out of a Japanese horror movie, but it was like an advert to stop people speeding. It was like, Jesus Christ.
So then we're on a campsite somewhere as Paddy enters holding a bag of something as Max has set up the TV. And we get, now that, my friend, is a plasma TV. Oh, yes. We're going to get a bit of porn on that for the lads.
I've told you. We're not having any of that filth.
There's Paddy's like, well, half of it's mine.
And that half won't be showing ninja movies.
Well, then he's still rummaging through this bag. Max is like, I thought them grapes were for the patient. And Paddy's like, yeah, they are.
It's still in the way. He's just sort of like, oh yeah, they are. As if he's just sort of like forgot to give them. He's still there, just shoving them into his gob.
Wow.
Then as Max asks, so how is he then? How is the patient? As they ask him, and Paddy's like, oh, he's not good. They had to put a pin in his leg.
Just not giving it shit.
But then he just goes, go on then, turn it up. He's just sort of like, well, I can't. It's like, well, I can and I can't. And Paddy's like, and he just goes, what do you mean? It's like, there's no speakers. Like, you are joking. How are we supposed to watch them? And Max just holds up like a pair of earphones.
Not even good earphones, like the ones you get from Poundland.
Yeah.
And Paddy's like, oh, no, I can't watch Charlie's Angels with them.
No, it's Charlie's Anals. It's
That's
like,
it,
I'm
Charlie's
not
Anals.
watching Charlie's Anals like that. Do you know what? Typical gypsy. I'm glad I didn't give him his grapes.
Was it called? Did he use the slur though? I won't repeat it. But yes, he used the slur.
Well, I can remember.
Yeah, he used the slur.
Oh, okay.
So then we get the lads driving through the countryside somewhere. We get the Wurzels covering Oasis. And then they parts up again somewhere as...
Was it the Wurzels?
Yeah, it was the Wurzels.
Really?
Yeah.
It literally just came up on sort of like the subtitles, just sort of like West Country version of Don't Look Back in Anger.
Yeah. I didn't realise it was the Wurzels. That's amazing.
She knows it's too late because she's working on boy now.
That was even... You know what? The Wurzels version was better than the original. But I honestly think Lucy's version topped it.
That's just because I took like the West Country accent and then just dialed the farmer in me, just sort of like up to 10.
Nice. Nice.
So then, Max is putting the shopping away as Paddy is skimming through a magazine. As he says, look at the cherry bakewells on that. As Max has got a pack of his hand.
Out of the bag.
It's just literally he's looking at a porn mag, and Max is just sort of like there, just going, no, it's all right. I'll put shopping away. It's like, oh, it's very kind of you. Like not even looking up, and he turns the magazine over, sort of like so it's horizontal. And he's like, oh, look at cherry bakewells on that. And at the moment Paddy's delivering that line, Max is taking a packet of cherry bakewells out of the shopping bag.
But it's not like a multi-pack, it's literally two massive bakewells.
Two great big massive bakewells. As if he's gone to the bakery for it or something like that.
Yes. They're not your Mr. Kipling's version where you get 6 little ones in a pack. These are the big monster ones.
It's just sort of like, Paddy goes, chuck us a bottle of that water. So Max gets a bottle of water, plonks it down, and he's like, bit of manners costs nothing. Paddy goes, what's this? What's what? He's like, I'm not drinking this. He's like, turns it over, like reading the label, and he just goes, bottled in the mountains of Afghanistan. What's in that?
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? What's right with it? Why do you keep buying this cheap crap? Freaking 4p beans and Al Qaeda water.
Tinder Vines isn't going to break the bank, are they? Nope. Aye, and neither were Big Bob's.
Exactly that, Patrick. It's cheap. Suppose we cut it back. He's just sort of like holding up like a tin of like Bob's beans. He's just sort of like, come on, Tinder Vines isn't going to break the bank. It's like, leave all Big Bob's. Spent half the housekeeping looking after your freaking what do they call it? It's like maintenance, like
what
line? Yeah,
it's like male grooming stuff. I can't remember what he actually used the term, didn't he? And I can't remember what it was like a early 2000s terminology for it as well.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was.
He says something in your moisturisers, and then he just follows it up with, it's like living with a bloody woman.
Yeah. You got it backwards, Patrick. There's women that are supposed to spell nice for us.
Oh, you're missing the best line here. It's just sort of like, sort of like goes, I spent half the housekeeping on your bloody rubbish. Moisturiser, cleanser, it's like living with a bloody woman. Anyway, how would you know? Anyway, it's this. You should give it a whirl once, Max. You should give it a whirl sometime, Max. It's just sort of like, what's that supposed to mean? And Paddy goes, in a nutshell, you stink. And Max just goes into like this posh accent, just going, how dare you? How dare you? Yeah. I have a stand-up wash in that sink once a week. And Paddy goes, once a week? Straight wash more than that. And what about deodorant?
I use that line every now and again, by the way. Stand up wash in that room once a week.
Yeah, and I have to say, Paul was just sort of like, somewhere you've got it backwards, Patrick. Women are supposed to smell nice for us. And Paddy goes, you're living in the dark ages. Max goes, me? I'm living in the dark ages. I am not the one reading blinking Razzle. Another waste of money. Oh, we're going to have a beef boogie on tonight. Well, that's gone down the shit pan. And Paddy goes, waste of money? Waste of money? We've bought a plasma screen with no speakers. No wonder we're eating Big Bob's bastard beans.
Also, just a note here.
Oh, go on.
I was going to say, just a note here, Max is also in a Chorley FM t-shirt.
Yes, he is. It's like a dark green Chorley FM t-shirt. But I love how Paddy delivers that fucking line. I love it. It's like, it's just, remember I've got Big Bob Bastard Beans. Like, Big Bob's Bastard Beans. It's a Sean Bean moment, just not as Sean Bean as Sean Bean.
It's part of the thing as well, being in like the Max and Paddy quote group on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And you just see the amount of people that just put like Big Bob's Bastard Beans with no context other than just the sake of saying it. Like,
it's amazing. It's how you always feel better for saying Big Bob's Bastard Beans. It just rolls off the tongue. It makes you feel better. Whenever you just feel like shit, just randomly just say Big Bob's Bastard Beans. You will feel infinitely better for no apparent reason.
Then we seem to jump to a bit where they're eating together, like pretty much like, I'm guessing it's been like the silent treatment to each other.
Eating Big Bob's Bastard Beans.
There's sort of like there's a reason for it. I mean, we'll probably get into it when we sort of like if we do like a deleted scene / outtakes episode of Max and Paddy. But there's the reason for sort of like the silent treatment is that one of the deleted scenes, Paddy has walked in on Max on the bog, and he's been having a 5-knuckle shuffle with his copy of Razzle. That's why he's just
fantastic.
Sort of like, cover it up. He's just sort of like, oh, freaking hellfire. So that explains sort of like the awkward silence.
Right.
And also, there's like a deleted scene in it. It's just sort of like where Max just goes, "Man has needs," and Paddy goes, "Man has lock on door." He's like, "It was locked." Was it? Yeah. And he's delivering these lines with just sort of like a mouthful of chips in. And then obviously Peter Kay breaks character and just sort of like pisses a gut, but it should be on the outtakes, I think.
Yeah.
But that's like the context for it. But yeah, they're like eating like, I don't know, like eggs, chips and beans or whatever, and the rice at the end of it. I just noticed that like Max has got like 2 individual baked beans left on his tray, and he's just sort of like pushing them out in the middle, as if he's at the fucking Ritz or something like that.
I was going to mention that actually, because it just seems like he's just there, like he's got like just a plate of like leftover sauce, and he's just there sort of cutting and chopping away and like just pushing around this sauce on the plate for no reason other than he needs something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
You just go in the loo.
Okay.
But then Paddy suggests they need to go out, as he said, it's not healthy 2 blokes coped at 24/7. And it's like, well, say that 16 years later, it's a bit of a different story now. But then I think it's Max is like, we do go out. He's like, no, we need to go out, meet some women. But then if he says to Max, bit of butt, slappy chop chops.
Oh, slappy chop chops, yeah. Going out, he's talking about going out to nightclub, pub, something, or whatever. It's on the pull, essentially, because a man has needs, like Paddy says. A man has needs.
So then they enter a club, but what surprised me here is that they're both in like quite decent gear for like 2 blokes living in a camper van.
Yeah, it's quite upmarket what they're wearing. It's sort of like, nice wash clothes, sort of like definitely ironed.
Yeah,
sort of like,
it's like where've they ironed these? Like,
yeah, this is it. I was looking to myself, what they're wearing, you probably pass with what they're wearing now. Going out, it's sort of like it's not dated as such. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're all right. They're probably relatively smart, Even Max might have a bloody chance here if he had £50 hanging out of his zip. He might have a chance here. So I thought, look, but the thing is, when I was watching it, and for the first time, and I'm taking myself way back now to my fucking youth. I can say that now, the old bastard. And I was watching it for the first time, and you think to yourself, and I was listening to the commentary as well, and I keep bringing this shit commentary, but it's not worth the time. Don't listen to it. That they said when they first got into this bar, it's like it comes across because the amount of sailors that are in there. Are they going for a gay club vibe here? Like, is this a gay club that Paddy's took them to? This is where the plot's going, where it's like it's a sausage fest in here, sort of thing. But no, we don't go down that direction. It's not a gay bar. It's just like a typical early 2000s nightclubby type place, which you needed a mortgage, like you do nowadays, even more so, just to get a bottle.
Well, as they're walking in.
Yeah, they walk in, and it's just sort of like, Max goes, bloody hell, a lot of sailors in tonight. It's like bloody Pearl Harbor. And Paddy goes, hey, 8 o'clock Pearl Harbor, 12 o'clock Pearl Necklace. That'll do for HMS Paddy.
That comes shortly afterward, because it's they're walking through, Max is chewing his gum, like, as they head to the bar with Paddy. Oh, I'm spitting feathers.
What you
Max,
having?
I'll get him in. Yeah. But then they get to the bar, and of course, Max, obviously not been a nightclubber, so 2 pints of mild.
We only do bottles. It's like, that'll do. Yeah. The barman comes back, placing the bottles down. It's like, $7.60. It's like, how much? $7.60. For 2 beers, you'll be wearing a mast and a striped jumper. Eh? And he obviously, I think he must give him like a £20 note. And as the barman's taking it away, he just goes, Thatcher's Britain.
Yeah. And he hands him the change, and he looks at it and he goes, that's right. Like as if to expect him to get robbed.
Well, he says Thatcher's Britain, and then he says, can tell we're down south. And it's like, no, Max, you're just in a nightclub, mate. Like, not paying your bloody like 80p or whatever you pint of mild in the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Phoenix Club.
Yeah, then something we get. Then Max is like, there's a lot of sailors in here. It's like Pearl Harbor, and then we get the Paddy line.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't go for the low hanging fruit, like the Grand Tour went with Seaman. I'm really, 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 really surprised about that.
I don't think they did because the whole the whole 8 o'clock Pearl Harbor, 12 o'clock Pearl Necklace.
Yeah, they were
probably have it sorted in that one line.
Yeah, they were saving it for the better line.
So Paddy spots a couple of women and swims off as Max does the walking onto the dance floor dance, as mentioned on Peter Kay's DVD live at Bolton Albert Hall. Paddy tried his chat up line of, you're right, Flower, here's 10p, call your mum, tell you won't be coming home tonight. And she just looks at him and says, got a mobile, dickhead. Well, then you hear
Max in the background going, and then they go up to couple number 2 of like a group of ladies, and Paddy just goes, all right, ladies, pick a number between 1 and 10. And one of them thinks for a second, just goes, 8. And he goes, you lose, take your tops off. She goes, fuck off.
And Paddy's like, oh.
But then we get Max watching over the dance floor as Paddy's like there trying to talk to women and that. Can you catch, love? Why? Look, a couple of balls coming your way. Just hold up a claw hand.
What gets me is Cameron just goes, Dave, is that you?
But she sticks the claw hand up. Paddy looks terrified, and Max just spits his beer out.
Paddy's obviously been trying to get the pull for quite a while because he comes back over to Max. He's like, "Don't get it, Max. Those lines are tried and tested." And Max just goes, "They're tried and tested. Women don't want that in this day and age, Patrick. They want romance
and sophistication,
honesty and romance.
Honesty and romance.
Romance." And Paddy goes, "Where have you heard this?" And Max thinks for a second. And he just goes, "Trisha." Like, all right then, take the wheel.
For the unaware, Tricia was pretty much akin to like Ricky Lake in the UK.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And it was also on the TV in the camper van.
Ah.
Oh, right.
Okay. So Paddy tells Max to take the lead as he runs over to two women sat at the table, and Maxim tells him, it's like, but you're both very attractive. I wonder if we could buy you both a drink.
Being that they're in the West Country, one of the ladies was just sort of like, yeah, all right, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
What? Patrick, go get them in. As if it's sort of like, sort of like a moral victory that his ways have won over this sort of like Paddy's. Yeah.
So then we get the blonde of the two on the dance floor looking worried as Max is bouncing around.
It literally looks as if he's like a footballer going up for like constant headers.
Of, like, heading practice.
Yeah.
It's not like he's on a trampoline while doing heading practice at the same time. That's what he looks like. He's bouncing over everywhere, knocking into everybody.
So yeah, he ends up knocking into like three people, ends up in a scuffle with a sailor, and as that happens, the rest jump in, and the hat flies towards Paddy and the brunette of the two, and Paddy just looks over to her. So as I was saying to you, right? And then we get the end of part one.
Yeah.
So then jumping back in with part two, pretty much the morning after, the lads are sat outside the caravan with Max's Pakistan cricket shirt reading the paper.
I need to get me one of these for a certain video we're thinking of doing.
Let's have a look at what's going on in the world today. It's like, never mind the world. What went on last night? It's like, what do you mean? It's like, we were doing really well. We had those women in the palm of our hand, and we went from that to that, and just sort of like sticks the middle finger up. Just sort of like, oh, because you can't dance. What, me? I can't dance? It's like, yeah, you heard me. It's like you were listening to a different tune. Were you wearing a Walkman? And Max just goes, how dare you? I may not be like one of those Blue Zone folk, but I can still strut my stuff.
What's Blue Zone? That pop group.
So goes inside the van and changes the radio station.
Oh, as they're changing stations, like they're obviously doing sort of like the stuff that you do with like normal radios, or just sort of like, seeking a different radio station. And the one in between the radio station they were on and the radio station they get to, there's another little reference to Bob Carroll G's.
I'm drinking.
I'm drinking as well.
Have no drink.
Oh, the game's on still. The game's on. We have a Bob Carroll G's reference. Still Bob Carroll G's.
So Paddy finds a station playing music and then drags Max up and shows him some dance moves.
It's playing Let's Hear It for the Boy by Denise Williams, I believe.
I will go by your judgment on that, yes.
I think so, from what the subtitle said.
But we get the line here of look and learn, Flower. Look and learn.
Well, anyone could do that, because he starts dancing, doesn't he? And he starts like literally 1, 2, 1, 2, and he's sort of sidestepping, bringing his feet together, like a very basic move. And Max is like, oh, anyone could do that. And Paddy just goes, can they, Max? And he does sort of like a little shuffle. I can't I can only describe it as sort of like a pseudo shit Michael Jackson dance.
Yeah.
And Max almost looks at him as if, say, all right, fair play.
Where did you learn that? On the streets. Look and learn, Flower. Look and learn.
But then we do get a montage of them here.
Yes.
As well as Max doing some solo stuff until he's spotted by her family looking weirded out.
Yeah. It's very Karate Kid, isn't it? It is very,
yeah,
very
it's a bit Karate Kid. It's a bit, there's this spoof and Dirty Dancing in here as well.
Yes, this is fucking brilliant.
They get to the part with Paddy showing Max a bit of bump and grind. Saying women love it. And Max just looks completely weirded out.
Yeah. Max is just there, just going, is this really necessary? And the there dude's just doing sort of like the bump and grind. It's like, absolutely, Max. Well, we love a little bit of bump and grinding. It's just sort of like, yes, I'm a woman. I'm a woman and you want me. I'm a woman and you want me. And the same family who sort of like Max had weirded out earlier are in just sort of like a 4-man pedalo. And they're just sort of like, they're just going.
What was his son's face up with his Yeah. But the bit on the montage, there's two bits of this montage I fucking love. And I don't know what it is, but it's a little bit of the Dirty Dancing montage. It's basically a montage of Max crushing Paddy repeatedly. Where he's trying to do the bit where in Dirty Dancing where he lifts the girl up. But obviously Max is taking the part of the girl and Paddy's just getting clattered.
There's a bit that comes just before that where they're on the waste pipe and they're like, it's like balance, son, balance. And then he's like, oh, I think you've got it. And then Max slips.
Yeah.
Ooh, send help. My balls have
Oh,
gone into
how do you get help? My balls have gone up into my stomach.
And then we get the montage of them doing the Dirty Dancing stuff on the beach where he's trying to catch him and that. So, but then back in the van, Paddy steps out in his white suit. If you can't beat him, cop, join him.
Yeah, they're all dressed in sailors' suits.
Yeah, Paddy's dressed as sort of like, you know,
an officer,
like proper officer like garb, and Max is in just sort of like the stereotypical like sailor outfit. He's like, hey, why haven't I got one of those? Paddy just goes, they didn't have your size, and he's like, bollocks. He's just sort of like, it's like Paddy going, it's like, oh, Max, women love a man in uniform. And Max just goes, oh, is that right? Well, why don't we go out tonight dressed as a couple of Nazis?
Yeah, how that goes. It's like, jeez. Speaking of, by the way, you said the word bollocks. I only noticed the other day that the actual number plate on the van says bollocks.
I noticed that it's visible towards the end of the episode. I wasn't to bring it up, to be fair, but
it's on the number. It's on the back of the box. If you look on the back of the box, it actually says bollocks on the back. If you look on the back of the DVD, Lewis is going to get it now to check this, but I'm pretty sure it is on there. But yeah. Did Max say something like looking like what is it like a
yeah? He goes. So the pretty much the full thing is. Hang on, why haven't I got one of those? They didn't have your size flower. Bollocks.
Lewis has seen it.
You look all right. I don't look like a rent boy from Love Boat is what I look like.
I forgot about that line. Yeah, I can confirm that it does in fact say bollocks. It's spelled BOL. Well, that's probably 10, but
yeah, it's
10X, and it's just there. If you can see that.
Yeah. You can just about see it. But yeah, it does say bollocks.
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 So then we get Max and Paddy are in the club where they're dancing together to rock the boat in front of a couple of women.
It's fully choreographed.
They lead off and then the women follow as we get. So you're an officer then. And a gentleman.
Well, just wait there though. But it's the way they ask them if they want to go for a drink. It's fully in sync. I absolutely love it. It's like
it's literally like you, me, drink that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again in a reference to the outtakes. This is a scene where like there's multiple takes have been taken, just because like the choreography of the dancing, because obviously they're just sort of like, you know, mirroring each other and sort of like doing, you know, just doing like a choreographed like dance between each other. The amount of times that they fuck up on it, and sort of like you can tell how many takes it's been, because into the later takes there's like occasions of Peter Kay just going, oh, for fuck's sake.
He's a singer, not a dancer.
He is.
He's a singer, not a dancer. Or at least he thinks he is.
So yeah, we get the line of see an officer then and a gentleman. As the women go to buy them drinks, but Max and Paddy do go on off and say, "Oh, you got to get the table. We'll get the drinks in." As they walk off, Paddy says, "What did I tell you? Like flies around shit. I'm going for a slash." So as Max at the table with the women, Paddy just returns, saying, "Oh, I needed that. My teeth are underwater."
He's just like 1, 2. He just like takes like 2 shots pours them into one glass,
bang,
and then just takes a shot. It's just sort of like, oh yes, I needed that. And he just looks at Max and just sort of like, where's it? You're not having one. And Max just goes, that was mine.
Yeah.
He's just sort of like, same again. Like, ew. And away he goes.
So then they take the women back to the camper van, claiming they're on shore leave and they're borrowing it off a mate. And as they get in, Max is like, oh yeah, sorry about the mess. Our friend's a bit of a layabout. He doesn't really tidy up much or something.
Oh, the actual line is just sort of like, oh, sorry about the mess here. The bloke who owns it is a bit of a pig. You know, emphasises pig in terms of sort of like of Paddy. Paddy's just sort of like, you know, completely off his face. He's just sort of like, now then, you look after your little lady. I'm just going to show this little lady a tour of the vessel.
I love it.
This is the front room, and that's my room. He shoves it into the back bedroom. And he just goes, tour over.
But it's this bit that comes up next with Max. So he gets out the two like camping cups, and pops them down. But there's videos on Facebook where I'm guessing it is a direct take from the DVD where it's literally him trying it so many times and just not working properly.
Keeps falling down. There's a specific take where he thinks he's got them. He just sort of like goes, drink, and then one of them just sort of like falls down and he just goes, bollocks.
And you can see the genuine joy in his face when he must have took so many fucking takes. Because when you can see it on the actual final cut, he's like, you can just see his face beam and go, drink? So his face just lights. It's like, yes, I've got it.
So we get Paddy in the back. Paddy's at it in the back when Max is nervously sat with the other woman.
Yeah, the whole van's shaking. The whole van's like rocking side to side when they're trying to have all the conversation.
Max is there just sort of like going, he's a character, that one, because you can still hear Paddy in the background just sort of like saying like bits and pieces. Like the very first thing that he says is like, permission to come aboard.
But the van starts rocking, but then Max goes, oh, that wind's got up.
That wind's got up.
At one point, Paddy goes, I'm Paddy the Sailor Man.
But then, so Max starts making small talk, going, oh, so what do you do for a job then? She's like, we check out supervisor.
Check out supervisor. Oh, I bet you've got some stories to tell. He just looks off and just goes, please God.
Then again, Max is still at it with the overly like obvious. I'm chewing, but I'm not chewing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, I bet you got a girl in every port. He's like, well, I haven't, because I'm choosy.
It's like I'm not like womanizer in there. It's just sort of like it's just one girl for me. So I like a girl that has like special needs. The woman's face drops as she's just like, oh, who is she? And he's like, oh, no, I don't mean like a girl with special needs. I mean like a girl with like special needs. I like a girl who likes to look after herself. I like a girl that's got like a little bit up here. He's like,
we've got a broken cocktail here, by the way. The cocktail's broken.
It was that line when I watched it back, and it's just I had to watch it back, and I watched it, and it's like, I like a girl with special needs, and she goes, who is she? I went back and watched it again, and I like a girl a bit romantic. I like a girl with special needs, and she's, who is she? I'm fucking hell. Sorry.
He's just sort of like going, it's like, I like a woman that's got like a lot of hobbies and interests. High of hobbies, high of interests. And she just goes, all right, what are they then? It just sort of like cuts to Paddy's back bedroom. And he's there going at it like under the covers, like, I'm strong to the finish because I speak spinach. And you just hear like the ignition turn on, and he just pokes his head out. It's like, where's he going now?
You can see it coming. Plasma!
Plasma screens, love. I'm going to get surround sound speakers around it. Subwoofer. I know what you're thinking. Wires. I've got it covered. Corbin.
But she looks bored as anything.
Yeah.
Like,
And Paddy's like comes through and says, "What are you doing, man?"
Like, you've got your ways of entertaining women. I've got ways of mine. I don't come up to you and tell you how to perform.
Yeah. Pleasure of the flesh, man. And you just see him walking through. He's got a hat over his nuts, and he's walking through. And he comes back through, and he literally says, "You're on your arse, man," while his arse is like in full view of the camera. And you just see him walk through the screen and slam the screen shut.
But whilst he was out front sorting out the turning off the engine or whatever, the woman in the back's like peeking through his wallet and nicks all his money.
Just outright nick his wallet. Just nicks his wallet.
Yeah. Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, she just robs his wallet. Full out, just outright. She's like, right, I'll have that.
So then the following day, Max is sat in a cafe somewhere with Joe. As Joe just said, I had no idea they needed speakers. I'll make some calls, but I don't want to risk my other leg.
Oh yeah, but Gypsy Joe's in a full-on cast, by the way, in a wheelchair. Like one of them comedy casts, isn't it? It's like massively, like twice the size of his leg.
So then Paddy emerges from the toilets with a stinking hangover, saying he can't find his wallet. And Max is like, "Oh yeah, that old story."
Like, no, I had it on me last night. It was just sort of like, where did you end up? It's like Bermuda. It's like pub down on the coast. It's just sort of like, we went there dressed as a couple of sailors. Joe's like, sailors? It's like, yeah, it worked and all. We took them back to our flat, took them back to the van. It's like, gave them sort of stuff to do. It's like, right, okay. It's like, oh, right, okay. And he was like, yeah, it was all going great until Charlotte Church here couldn't hold her ale.
Yeah.
Like, I could hold me ale. I think one of those girls spiked me. And Joe just goes, hang on a minute, you went to Bermuda dressed as a couple of sailors? It's like, yeah. It's like, and you can't find your wallet? It's like, yeah, so? He's like, well, lad, sounds like you've had a run-in with the Belgrano sisters. And they both look at each other and just go, Belgrano? And he goes, oh, sorry, yeah.
I was going to say, there's a bit, it's like, oh, I picked up a couple of live wires, took them back to the camper van. And you see Joe's face sort of sat there going, so hold on, you went to Bermuda, picked up a couple of live wires, and they weren't named Tracy and Louise by any chance, were they? Just like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were. Right, it's like, look at us, how do you know?
It's like, you've had a run-in with the Belgrano sisters. It's like, Belgrano? It's like, yeah, and I counted the number of sailors that's gone down in them over the years.
Which I think's referencing the Belgrano ship sank during the Falklands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So Joe reveals to pick up sailors, get them drunk, and then rob them. And then falls over. I didn't know they were out of prison.
They both go, prison?
So then that night, the lads go to the club and confront them as they're talking to a couple of sailors.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, can you give us a minute, lads?
Yeah.
Max is like, oh.
Well, they initially go sort of like, hey, lads, you okay? It was like, well, I was okay until I woke up this morning and found out my wallet had been nicked. Yeah. And then it's just sort of like, could you two, like, give us a minute? And the sailors go off and like that. And like, Treason, Leanna, see? It's like, I wonder if the boys in blue would be interested to know that you're up to your old tricks again. It's like, you wouldn't do that, would you? He's like, wallet, now. He's like, I'm sure we can come to some arrangement. And they both look at each other. And like, all the while they've been in the club, what song was on in the background? I know it's Keep On Moving, but was it by Five?
Yes, it is Five.
Yeah,
Five. Yeah.
Keep On Moving's on, yeah.
Yeah, that's a song that's sort of like linked to, you know, when he did his MEN Arena DVD. Well, one of the extras for it is they do sort of like a behind the scenes sort of like video vlog of the entire tour. And I always remembered like one of the that song is playing during the introduction, and he's just and like I always remember it because sort of like when Peter Kay's in his dressing room, they've obviously got sort of like, it must be like Amarillo on in the background, because like Peter Kay's in there sort of like, you know, striding on the spot, and like the two, like, I don't know, security guards or like guards or whatever, or like doing it in step as well. That's something that's always ingrained in sort of like my childhood memory from watching that DVD.
Ah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
So, the 5 doors of the shopping centre from previous in the episode fling open as the bears once again they fly out pushing Gypsy Joe. They stop at the camera van and take the heads off to reveal it's the sisters with a surround sound kit under the chair. They hand it to Paddy and the lads drive off.
And then the scene during the credits.
Oh yes, we get.
I was going to say
still.
If you watch that scene closely, they're driving off like towards the seafront or whatever. You can actually see the number plate saying bollocks.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
So then, Max is asleep and Paddy wanders in with his copy of Charlie's Anals.
Yeah, bear in mind, we've got to set the scene slightly here because the plasma telly has been set up above Max's bed. And he's got the sound system set up round back of his, like where the headboard would be. And Max is clinging onto this remote control like his life depends on it while he's sleeping. So Paddy's sort of like prized his fingers open to get this remote out. And then you just see the telly come on sort of thing. You don't see it on screen, just see it light up. And you just see the DVD case come up with Charlie's Anals on it.
Obviously, like cheap in the background noise of the DVD playing. It's like, "Good morning, Anals. Good morning, Charlie." It's like,
you just hear a zip go down, bend over. And the voice, I think, is Peter Kay, isn't it?
It is Peter Kay doing the voice,
doing the voice. Like, bend over.
And then there's just sort of like the silhouette of Paddy doing the deed, like where Max is sleeping. And Max wakes up, he's like, oh my God. And he just, from the outside, it's just sort of like the camper van rocking back and forth. He's like, over my sleeping body. And the family that have been sort of like, emotionally scarred throughout the trip.
They're in the next camper van.
Yeah, they're in the next camper van along. They're coming back from sort of like being at the chippy or whatever. And obviously they hear what's going on. There's just sort of like the camper van rocking back and forth. Yeah. And the father is just sort of like telling everyone to get inside. It's
like he's evacuated the outside to get inside with the family. It's like a full-on evacuation. So I'm rushing everyone through this door.
It's just literally you're hearing from sort of like the camper van's like, how dare you! How dare you!
Paddy has needs!
Get off! I'll rip your bastard head off! He's like, Paddy has needs!
Oh, he says, you hear the Paddy has needs. He goes, come here, you rip your bastard head off. And then he just finishes.
Yeah. That's the end of the episode. Oh my God. Now, what did you guys think of the first episode? Because I have thoughts.
I enjoyed it. Like I realized we talked about it beforehand. There's just sort of like, obviously I know what your thoughts are, and I will say that there are much better episodes to come in the series.
100%.
Just from sort of like memory alone, and obviously from sort of like multiple clips that I've watched recently. So this wasn't the sort of like the best episode, but I still had a freaking laugh watching this. I had a real big laugh.
100% agreed. I mean, I remember we had a bit of, like I say, a brief conversation before we went on air, and I do enjoy Max and Paddy's Road to Nowhere. Absolutely adore it. It's when I watched it this time, it was like, it's not quite as funny as I remember it being. But at the same time, it's still fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's not as funny as Phoenix Nights. It's not as laugh a minute as Phoenix Nights, I feel.
Well,
but there are weaker episodes of Phoenix Nights than there are of this episode, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's on a par.
Mm-hmm.
I think though with Phoenix Nights, you've got a lot more characters.
Yes.
In like main characters, whereas this one you've literally got Max and Paddy. You got like Gypsy Joe doing his bit part. You've got like the family who are sort of they appear all of 3 times.
Yeah,
Well, they're just there as a visual gag, really.
Absolutely, they are to this episode what the blue Reliant Robin is to Mr. Bean, basically. That is what they are in this episode. You know, It's just like the punchline to a few situational like physical like joke sort of thing.
And there's better guest characters to come along the road.
Oh fuck yes, there is. Oh yes, there is. This episode, I would say, is probably one of the weaker ones of Max and Paddy's Road to Nowhere. But I genuinely don't think there is a bad episode, which is why I'm so looking forward to this. And what we've got to remember is this episode is quite important, actually, if you're obviously into like Peter Kay and the universe of the Phoenix Knights and that Peter Kay thing. Because in the end, if you think about it, it's all one big universe sort of thing that's set together, and it's all one big thing. It comes up with a few sort of like memorable quotes. And it's like, obviously, Big Bob's Bastard Beans that I absolutely adore. And you've got like, How Dare You? And you've got Flower, and you've got Dink Dank Do, and all that lot.
Oh, it's a very quotable episode.
Very, very, very quotable. But this series is very, very quotable. Very, very quotable. Much like Phoenix Knights is. Much like a lot of Peter Kay's material is. I mean, I bet there's quotes that we could come with. If we do like the next thing that's on the road of Peter Kay's thing that he did, which was the talent show thing. I can't ever remember what it's called because the title's that long. But
Strictly Superstar, whatever.
Yeah, maybe a Jesus Christ Superstar sort of thing. Yeah, there are probably quotes in that as well that we don't even realise. You know.
The one takeaway I have from that is like literally one line because it's treated as like a reality show, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So,
shall we not spoil it in case we do end up covering it?
Because I've not watched it in full. I've literally just seen like the one little snippet of it, but I'll tell it you off recording.
Can I tell you a little secret?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
Ever.
but well, as I say, like bar
Ever.
like the very one clip, I've not seen it either.
Well, like I say, I never saw that Peter Kay thing, and so that was a nice little adventure for me. So I'm looking forward to that if we do end up covering it. We've got lots to cover. Like I say, Peter Kay's done a lot of work. So
there's also the Driven to Distraction DVD I need to cover at some point.
Yes, we do.
I've watched it only ever once, which was 2000. It was actually 2004. I watched it, and I've not watched it again since. And I picked it in Poundland before Christmas. And was like, I'll watch this at some point, and then never did.
Well,
So
maybe when we're out of
still.
lockdown. Yeah, maybe when we're out of lockdown, perhaps I might go and get it. So we shall see. But this episode, get it watched, get it done, get the DVD. Yep. Always get the DVD. Don't watch it on Daily Motion unless you have to.
Yeah.
Give Peter Kay some money.
Mm-hmm.
Give him your money, and then he might encourage him to make more series of things. So. But I enjoyed it. Not as much as I did as I thought I would. Obviously, thinking back, obviously, nostalgia probably was at fault for that. But yeah, I know for a fact there's better episodes coming. And if this is one of the weaker ones, then bring it on. Mm-hmm. Fucking bring it on.
Yep,
Foxy's laughing. I think he knows what's coming.
I'm just thinking. I'm thinking of a certain episode, but I think it's later in the series, which is like.
Don't spoil it. Say it off air.
No.
Say it off air.
Yeah. So, well, that was the episode. So it's time for some plugs, guys.
It is. You can find me on Facebook. You can find us. I'll look on Facebook and go for UK RAD podcast. I'm in the process of thinking of something to do on that. By the way, last episode we did, I said I couldn't plug Twitter because Twitter told me to do one. This account is now back. Don't know what I've done. Don't know how it happened, but it's working again, and I can read tweets and I can actually tweet out. So yeah, find me at UK RAD podcast because it works again. But yeah, I'm on the, like I say, you can find the podcast, RAD podcast, and all the good podcast catchers out there. iTunes, Apple Music nowadays, Spreaker, Spotify, you name it, we're on it. And yeah, you can find, well, you can't find me Alter Ego Steve on Twitter anymore because he's still blocked. So watch this space. But yeah, you can find Gunpowder, Treason, No Plot on Twitter as well. So give them a follow as well. There you go.
You can find me on Twitter myself at the username at loggers109. It's highly important that you follow there because given that the UK has been plunged into a third lockdown, it's given me an excuse to stream a hell of a lot more on Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/loggers109. I primarily do like a lot of Let's Play series. So like it's pretty much like games that have like a very story-based aspect to it. Like the other night, I finished up my Yakuza 3 playthrough, which was very much enjoyable. My next one is going to be I'm going to be replaying Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I'm really looking forward to because it was one of my favorite games from 2019. So yeah, make sure that you're following on twitch.tv/loggers109.
Yeah, and it is good content. I can vouch.
Thank you very much, sir.
When he's not watching OSW review.
Well, I have to make an appearance every now and then.
You need your shout out and your can of Coke, mate.
I do. Hey, loggers, what's going on, fella?
All the cans of Coke to you. And of course, you can find the Lost Art of Podcasting on Facebook or on Twitter at Lost Art Podcast. We're on Instagram at Lost Art Podcast, and you can find our sister pod, Lost Art of Wrestling, on Twitter and Facebook as well, at LAW Podcast. And you can find us on Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, possibly Amazon Podcasts. I think I've been playing us on Alexa somehow. I don't know how, because I don't know how Alexa works yet properly. But name it, we're on it. So there we go. Cool. Well, for the Phoenix Pod, I've been AXC.
I've been definitely stupid and allegedly sexy. Newt Newt.
And I've been stowing away.
I've no real sign-off line because we can't say a next. So
How can you eat the water?
look and learn, fella. Look and learn.